What's up, guys? Rex coming at you today with a fat loss food tier list. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm just a regular guy that has, through trial and error, learned some things along the way. And hopefully, through doing this tier list, some of the things we talk about will help you avoid some of the mistakes that I made along my way. Let's get going on this. I'm sure I'm going to stir up the pot a little bit with this one. Might get some hate in the comments. That's fine. Go for it. At the end of the day, this is sort of my opinion. A lot of it is based on science and a lot of the things I've learned along the way, and usually like protein content and calories and whatnot. So let's get into it. Let's start with rice. Rice is a very popular bodybuilder food, sort of memed on for the chicken broccoli rice Trenbolone cover story thing. Rice is very good. It's really easy to overeat, reasonably high calorie. For that reason, not very satiating. It goes in the overrated section, I think. I love rice, but this is a fat loss food tier list, right? We got to think realistically. There's a lot of other options. My favorite carb source, potatoes. Potatoes, man. My mom always says, potatoes are so bad for you. Can't eat French fries. Potatoes, for the amount of food that you're able to eat, are relatively low calorie, and they're very versatile. You can use them in a lot of recipes, specifically useful at breakfast. If you really try to dial in the air fryer, French fries, and breakfast potatoes, things like that, potatoes can be pretty overpowered. So for that reason, they're going in S. They're also a pretty good source of potassium. Next up, another controversial one, I think. That's going to be salmon. Salmon has omega-3 fatty acids, and these have become very, very popular as of late with keto diets and talking about healthy fats more often than not. For that reason, I think it is kind of overrated because it's kind of high calorie. It's pretty high fat. Fitting it in the diet's a little bit difficult. I also just don't really like salmon that much. I don't get the craze. Like, cooked salmon is mid to me. I think it's good, but no, I only want to have it once a month or so. Sushi is delicious. Sushi's probably S tier for taste. It's one of my favorite foods, but usually sushi doesn't fit into the macros very well. Salmon is gonna go, oh man, don't kill me. It's a C. It's a C for me. It's a C. I'm sorry. I know everyone loves their omega-3 fatty acids, but salmon it's fishy. It's less tolerable to eat. Like, I don't want to eat it as much. It's something about the fishiness bothers me. But that is strictly my opinion. If you like salmon, more power to you, dude. It's just a little bit high calorie too, so that's why it's in C. Next up, berries. Okay. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries. Lately, with food prices going up, I feel like you get 12 raspberries for $5. And it's sort of just like unrealistic now. I find it a little hard to drop $5 on like a handful of blueberries, you know what I mean? The frozen variety, of course, is super useful. It combines pretty well with like whey protein based things and Greek yogurt. But fresh, they're just a little pricey. They're pretty low calorie, generally speaking. You get good fiber out of them. I'm going to put them in A, I think. Especially fruits like blackberries, they're like extremely high in fiber. This will help you stay satiated on your fat loss diet. Next up is turkey sausage. I guess we can include all turkey sausage in this, but specifically the breakfast sausage. It's low calorie. You can eat a lot of it. It's a high volume food. It's high protein. The only thing is the breakfast sausage gets pretty old. It's almost like they all use the same seasoning or something. You get fatigued with the flavor. Sweet and hot Italian sausage, turkey sausage, it's pretty good. It's hard to tell the difference and friendly on the macros, 25 grams of protein. It's pretty overpowered. I'll put turkey sausage in A, I think. Next up is eggs. They're probably in the A tier for the reason they're just a little bit high on the calories. They are pretty stacked in the micronutrient department. Most of the time, eating more than like 1 or 2 eggs for breakfast is probably not going to be conducive with the diet. You can fit them in if you want, of course. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult with whole eggs. Coming up next is the egg's less exciting cousin, the egg whites, in S tier. So egg whites are pasteurized. You can actually drink them out of the carton if you're an absolute freak, but they're also very versatile. You can sneak them into a lot of things. What I do, and I know a lot of people do this, I beat 2 eggs in with like 3 egg whites, and you're getting a ton of extra protein, minimal calories. And since there's real eggs in there too, it's almost convincing. You can't even tell that the egg whites are the majority of the mixture. They're very neutral flavored. I don't suggest drinking your calories at all during a fat loss period, but if you were bent on the smoothie thing, you could actually put the egg whites into the smoothie. You won't notice it, but it'll add basically pure protein, especially in relation to calories. It's only calories from protein. Egg whites are overpowered. They're a little bit expensive right now, but they're high volume and they're still pretty good for a fat loss diet. Next up is the fabled Greek yogurt, non-fat Greek yogurt specifically, non-fat. That is gonna be an S tier. Extremely versatile. You can actually use the unflavored version of non-fat Greek yogurt as a substitute for sour cream. You can add a scoop of protein powder to this. You can add Greek yogurt to smoothies. It goes really well with low-calorie fruit. It's a very high-volume food. You can eat a lot of it for minimal calories. In tandem with protein powder, Greek yogurt's a good weapon in the arsenal. Which brings us to whey protein, which I'm going to put in A, only for the reason that drinking your calories is not ideal. Most people will get whey to get more protein. I just think generally you should try to go for whole foods. If you really can't get that sort of 1 gram to 1 pound body weight ratio with the protein, I think it's okay to mix in the whey, and it's very useful. It's good for baking and making desserts that you might not usually get to have on a fat loss diet that you can due to, things like yogurt, egg whites, and whey protein. I think it's great, but it's just below S. It's very useful. It's really good. Chicken breast, B tier. Ooh, sorry, bro. Did I ruffle the feathers a little bit? Chicken breast is just like not very good. It doesn't taste very good. It doesn't really accept seasonings and flavors as well as other food does, as well as other protein options rather. It's overrated. It's obviously a great source of protein. I just think it's overrated. It could easily go into the overrated category, but good for certain things and it's very useful. Rotisserie chickens are pretty cheap access to a pretty good amount of lean meat, most of which being the breast. The breast is just like, I don't know. It's always so dry. You get so sick of it unless it's like covered in sauce and of course calories. Chicken breast belongs in B, I believe. On the other hand, deli meat. Ooh, deli meat. It might have preservatives and stuff, but we're not worried about the chemicals right now. We're worried about if this is good for fat loss. It goes in S. And the reason why is because it's really versatile. If you're poor and you need to get protein into your diet, this is a pretty cheap way to get a good amount in, and you can sneak it into anything. If you're really down bad, you can put it in salads, even chop it up and add it to soups. If you're real down bad, it'll add a lot of lean protein into the mix while not breaking the bank too much. They're all pretty generally low calorie, including even ham and roast beef. You can have quite a bit of variety in your diet with these as well. Low calorie cheese. I'm gonna lose some friends here too, but I think it's a B. Fat-free mozzarella, fat-free cheddar. It's like not even close to regular cheese. Basically all you're getting is the salt and the protein out of the cheese. They like suck it dry and it's like extremely dry. It doesn't really melt. There's also the pasteurized fat-free American cheese slices, which I've been through that too. They don't really melt. They don't taste very good. Of course, they're basically pure protein, as cheese doesn't really have carbs and it's fat-free, so it's only the protein. A small handful is 45 calories and 9 grams of protein, which is a lot of protein for a small amount of food, but it's just not very good. I've looked for the fat-free cream cheese my entire life, never found it anywhere. I've been to like 45 states. I've never seen fat-free cream cheese. What's with that? Cottage cheese, of course, good source of casein. Who wants to eat cottage cheese all the time? You know what I mean? It's just not a popular one. Fat-free mozzarella and cheddar, they're not convincing. The best way to go about it is to get like the 2% cheeses, add the 2% in with the fat-free and combine them 50-50 and you'll get a lot more protein and a lot less fat and sort of sneak in the fat-free cheese because let's be real, man, no one likes eating that shit by itself. It's not very good by itself. I might be in the minority, but I'm pretty sure the majority is not into the fat-free cheese. Next, we have nuts. Nuts go in the F tier. Nuts are delicious and they're super good for you. Generally speaking, they have pretty good micronutrient profiles. They have healthy fats and some protein, but oftentimes they're considered a protein source, but they're really not. They're really a fat source. They're really high in fat. They're very high calorie for how much you can eat of them. I don't think they really belong in a fat loss diet or a fat loss phase. And I'm going to include nut butters in with this one too, also an F. Nut butters are extremely high calorie for how much you can eat. They're not conducive with the fat loss diet. They're super high calorie, and they're an okay source of protein, but they're a massive source of fat, which is more calories. Fat is more than double the amount of calories per gram when it comes to other macronutrients. You can only eat a little bit of these. You have to be super careful. You can have them in the diet if you want, but it's going to be something you have to work around because you can't eat that much of it. PB2 for me is going to get an A. The protein to calorie ratio is not the best. Mike Israetel mentioned that peanuts are really low quality protein. Humans, we can't use as much of the protein. Very minimal use of the protein that is available in peanuts. So even if we're able to suck all the fat and carbs out of the peanut butter, peanuts are still sort of a weaker source of protein. PB2 is really good though because it sort of gives me my peanut butter fix when I need it really bad, because I really, really love peanut butter. Even though it's not good for weight loss, I still love it. It's very nostalgic for me. The peanut butter and jelly sandwich is simply overpowered. But PB2 sort of allows me to get that flavor back for a little bit, sort of satiate my cravings for peanut butter while not going like overboard on the macros. It's not the best protein for sure, but it's really, really useful and will help you stick on the diet, because the most important thing is that you're consistent on this. If having things that you crave is going to help you stay on track, PB2 is great for that peanut butter craving. Ezekiel bread. F, dude. F. I'm sorry, but Ezekiel bread, Dave's Killer bread, it's not very good. I'm not super bent on the bread thing. You can have bread. Bread's not terrible. It's not that bad. You can have a slice of toast with your eggs. You're not going to die from eating bread. Just have normal bread. Just don't have 7 pieces of normal bread. Have a piece of toast with breakfast and don't go crazy. Careful with buns too. Buns can be like 300 calories. It's really important to check the macros on that stuff, because there's lots of like low carb tortilla options that are much better macro wise and have way less calories. Salad. This kind of goes for all vegetables, but salad in general, S tier. You can eat basically unlimited amounts of vegetables. Leafy vegetables, green vegetables, you can pretty much eat as much as you want of them. They're super low calorie. Part of the reason this is on S tier is because it's a high volume, low calorie option. As always, things like this are good for fat loss, but it also opens up this ability for you to have a little more variety, and you can change the protein and get kind of creative with the salad. I would also say that low calorie dressings go hand in hand with this. Next is going to be the legendary G Hughes in S tier. This includes like mustard, low-calorie dipping sauces, low-calorie dressings as well. All of it's S tier. Condiments are going to help you stay on track because you can have familiar foods that you like and that are good without ruining your calories. G Hughes, I think, is like 5 calories per 2 tablespoons with the barbecue sauce. The honey mustard is, I think, 20 calories per 2 tablespoons, and it works really, really good as a dressing as well. Some low-calorie dressings are typically around like 50 calories for 2 tablespoons, so that honey mustard is overpowered. Some of the G Hughes sauces are pretty life-changing. The barbecue sauce is very good. Next is tofu. Tofu's A. Soy is sort of memed on at this point, but it's really not the worst thing. It's like considered actually like a decent quality protein source now. It's not gonna make your estrogen go through the roof. You can have it here and there and it'll be fine. It's a great option for people that are vegetarian and they don't want to eat animal products. It's a good source of protein, very good source. Tofu goes pretty well with a lot of Asian recipes. Let people have their tofu. Rice cakes, bro. Overrated. Rice cakes are overrated. You really can't eat that much of them, and the ones that you can eat a lot of taste like nothing. You can put PB2 and Greek yogurt on them and make them sort of a high protein snack, but overall I think they're kind of overrated. Caramel ones are really good, but they start getting into that higher calorie range. The ones that taste really good, of course, don't really fit into the diet, so that's why they're overrated. The lightly salted ones are not very good on their own. You have to cover them in calories to make them taste good. Next up, we have the legendary bodybuilding staple, the oatmeal. Oatmeal is not good. Oatmeal is overrated, beyond overrated. It's not very good, man. I've tried the overnight oats. I've done the protein oatmeal. I've tried everything you've tried to come up with. It's gruel, man. You're eating gruel. People like it because it's considered a good carb source and has some fiber and keeps you full, and a lot of people like to put the protein powder in it and make protein oats. I'm just not a fan, man. I don't like to suffer when I'm dieting, and oatmeal makes me suffer. Oatmeal is going in the F tier. All right, let's get into the ground meats. Beef for me is probably my favorite meat. I'm trying to be objective on this list, but like I said, there is going to be some subjectivity on here. I like beef a lot. I like ground beef because it's easy, and sometimes I get lazy in the kitchen and I just want to cook up something fast. It's a great lean protein source. It's harder to find really lean ground beef for a decent price, but lean ground beef has a pretty good protein to calorie ratio. For that reason, it goes in S. It also has a really good micronutrient profile. I would consider getting higher quality grass-fed beef. It's worth it. So there's a big difference for sure. Ground beef's less good cousin, ground turkey. Also really easy to cook. Anyone can cook a ground turkey. It accepts seasonings. It just doesn't taste as good as a ground beef. It's very good. It's very useful. The turkey burgers are fire. You can make turkey chili. For that reason, the ground turkey gets the A. Canned tuna. Canned tuna is super lean. It has like almost no fat as long as you get it in water. Be careful, don't get it in oil. It's a great source of protein. It's very easy. It's super cheap. The only reason it's not ranked higher is because it fucking stinks, man. Your whole house is gonna smell like tuna for like 3 days. Maybe you're into that, but personally, not my thing. I think tuna's good. I eat it sometimes, but the stank sort of annoys me. A tier. Next up, the less popular canned meat variety is canned chicken breast. Canned chicken breast is like basically already processed down, like shredded chicken. Super cheap, generally speaking, and it's easy to sneak into a lot of things. Usually as cheap as it can get for canned protein sources. You can sneak this in the Alfredo sauce and make it super high protein. And it lasts forever, and it's got a lot of uses. S tier, I'm sorry. I know you guys can't handle it. It's a little weird, I know. Eating chicken out of a can, it's a little weird. It's good. It's a good source of protein, man. Doesn't stink. Turkey bacon, I like turkey bacon, but it's like not even close. I feel like they don't really try. There's some like craft expensive ones that I've tried that are a little bit closer to bacon. They seem to put a bigger effort into it, but like the mass produced ones, they all taste the same. They're kind of like almost like bologna. They're this like weird bologna texture. And you can fry them up and they get crispy and they're pretty good, but I would rather have like turkey sausage. Turkey bacon's pretty good. It's gonna get the B tier. Vegan protein, same sort of thing as whey. It's just like less quality protein. It's not that big a deal. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian, it's a good way to supplement in the protein because it's hard to get protein usually when you're vegan or vegetarian. I'll put it in A tier for the accessibility to vegetarians. Beans. Okay, beans. Beans are often considered a health food. They're not necessarily bad for you, but they do have like a ton of fiber, and a lot of people report getting upset stomach from beans, your boy included. They do have carbs. Generally, they're sauced up, high calorie sauce. They're not like the best protein source ever, sort of mid protein to calorie ratio. They fit in though. You can eat them. Be careful of the digestive problems. Good luck, bro. B tier. Avocados. Avocados are really in right now. The white moms, they love the avocados. Avocados are really high in fat. It's healthy fat for sure, but they're pretty high calorie. So you just got to be careful with this. I love avocado. Eat it pretty sparingly though, for the reason that it's very high calorie. I don't think it really fits super well into a fat loss diet, but if you really want it, of course, it can fit in somewhere. It's going to go C tier. Sweet potato is really good, but it's higher calorie. It shares everything in common with regular potatoes in terms of versatility. Lots of good vitamin content, but it's just a little bit higher calorie. It's harder to fit in, and generally to make them taste good, you need a lot of sweet stuff. I guess, you know what? Sweet potatoes will go B. I like sweet potatoes. Whitefish, S tier. Whitefish is a lot less fishy, a lot more tolerable for a lot of people. It's got a really good protein to calorie ratio, very lean protein, and you can eat a lot of it. It'll be very satiating, high in protein. It's a good choice. Popcorn, dude. Not to say S tier too many times, but popcorn is 100% S tier. A lot of companies now are following the green Orville Redenbacher package trend and making 99% fat-free popcorn. You can eat the whole bag for about 200 calories. Sometimes I eat 2 bags in one sitting. The point is that it takes a long time to eat and it's very high volume. I highly suggest adding this in, especially if you have a problem with being satiated. You can eat a ton of popcorn. Just make sure you get that 99% fat-free version. Broccoli. Broccoli is fine. It's a vegetable. I don't know why everyone's obsessed with broccoli in the diet. You can really have any vegetables you want. If you like broccoli, you can use broccoli. I think broccoli's kind of mid. It's good. I mean, it's fine, but like I wouldn't usually choose it. There's other vegetables that I prefer. It has good micronutrients and very low calorie and has fiber in it too. But it's part of that chicken broccoli rice meme. Overrated. Next up, aromatics. Things like onions, garlic, shallots, green onions, herbs, brother, ginger, of course, peppers. These all have multiple benefits, usually anti-inflammatory, and they're good things to have in your diet. You can use the aromatics to spice up and make most dishes taste a lot better. Aromatics get an S. Spices are gonna hang an S as well for the same reasons that I mentioned. You do not have to suffer on the diet. You don't have to eat flavorless chicken, broccoli, and rice. At least put some fucking garlic powder, paprika, and onion powder, and salt and pepper and seasoning on foods. There's no reason to suffer. You can eat food that has flavor. Cauliflower, very often included in the bodybuilder diet. I guess it's B tier. I like cauliflower mashed potatoes. Rice cauliflower is pretty good. It's high volume. It's got good fiber and actually has, a decent amount of protein too for being a vegetable, I guess. It's good. It's got uses. I like cauliflower. Chicken thighs are A tier. Chicken thighs are really good. They have a little bit more fat. They're about 200 calories a thigh with boneless, skinless. It's still like 28 grams per 200 calories, which is better than any protein bar on the market for the most part. They're a great source of whole food protein. They taste a lot better than chicken breast. That's why they're on A, because they taste really good and they're a good source of protein. Coffee. Coffee is very popular when you're on the fat loss diet because it sort of makes it so you're able to ignore hunger at times. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. Coffee is going to go in B tier. I think it's kind of spammed on the fat loss diets. You're drinking caffeine with your pre-workout. You're drinking a coffee or two before you go to work. Maybe a diet soda in the middle of your workday, or maybe you have a diet soda with lunch. It's probably going to be Diet Coke because that's the most popular one that also has caffeine. These build up so much to the point where you're slamming 500 to like 800 milligrams of caffeine every day, and caffeine sort of loses its potency. You're better off sort of moderating it as much as you can and trying to avoid drinking like 7 coffees a day because you become less sensitive to it and you want to get use out of the things that you're putting into your body. It's just overkill. You don't need that much caffeine and you should be careful with it because it's not necessarily good for you at really high doses. Diet soda is 100% an S tier. Diet soda lets you taste something good when you're really starving, and it's carbonated. Carbonation is your friend on the fat loss phase. It expands in your stomach and sort of makes you feel more full. It's very useful to have. Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi. They sort of give you a treat, a guilt-free one at that, being 0 calories. You get the chemicals, but the chemicals are good in this case. We're not talking about chemical tier lists. We're talking about foods that are going to help you lose weight. Diet soda is goated. Low-calorie soup. Okay, I mentioned this earlier, but low-calorie soup is really good for sneaking protein in, and it's a high volume. It's a pretty good amount of food. If you are able to find these light progressos, they're a really good option. So I would use these if you struggle to get protein in. I would use these and add the rotisserie chicken. If you're significantly down bad, you would throw the deli meat in this to up the protein and keep the calories nice. Carb Master milk. If you have access to this, I've only seen it in the West and the South. This Carb Master milk, especially the vanilla version, is 60 calories and 10 grams of protein. If you don't like milk, I understand. I wouldn't say I love milk, but this tastes like a vanilla milkshake and you can drink a lot of it. I know that I said that you shouldn't drink your calories, but this is a good one to drink. The Carb Master milk is an S for me. Diet juice. It's a little bit not as good as diet soda, so it gets an A tier. It's really good, again, to use the carbonation trick with this too. You can fill up a pretty big glass halfway with diet cranberry, which is going to be like 5 calories, and top the rest off with seltzer water of your choice. And it sort of gives you like a less sweet soda. It's very filling, very satiating. Sort of tricks your brain into being full. Artificial sweetener, man. People are going to love this. People are going to love this. S tier, bro. Diet sweetener is your friend. We've seen a bazillion studies and nothing has shown that it's really going to give you cancer or anything like that. 100 times it's been proven. You're going to survive. You can have your diet soda. You can have your artificial sweeteners. You're not going to die. And if you really want, you can use these nasty stevia extract sweeteners. They're gross. I don't like them, but a lot of people do. Nut milk. Nut milk is great. Nut milk's going to be S tier too. Nut milk is a substitute for dairy milk. If you can't drink dairy milk. This is basically going to be your best source of calcium, phosphorus, vitamin D, really important micronutrients. It doesn't have a lot of protein, but it sort of gives the illusion and texture of milk. Specifically, cashew milk is my favorite. It's a little bit more expensive, a little harder to find, but it's a lot more creamy than almond milk. Almond milk's a little more like almond water. These things are great. They're good to use as a milk substitute, especially because they're extremely low calorie and they're versatile in recipes, baking, all sorts of things. Nut milk gets an S. Low calorie syrups. This includes maple syrup, Walden Farms chocolate syrup. The Walden Farms strawberry syrup goes crazy. I don't know what they're doing over there with that, but it's very good. It's crazy. But they have a lot of these weird, like, peanut butter and caramel attempts that are very strange. I've tried a lot of them and they're really weird. But the pancake syrup's good. Strawberry syrup's good. It's got to be a C, man. The low-calorie syrups are kind of nasty. If you're going to go with the maple syrup, I think that's fine. It's good for, like, breakfast foods. But imitation peanut butter shit and the low-calorie dressings that they make are not very good in my opinion. Pickles. Ooh, pickles. S tier, baby. Of course, dude. I don't know if you guys know what relish is. Dill relish is fucking spreadable pickles. Why is that not more popular as a topping? Pickles are really good. They're basically no calories. Supposedly they help with digestion as well. But they're really good and they're nice to put on sandwiches to give a ton of flavor without giving calories. Pickles are fire. All right, so that wraps up the fat loss food tier list. If you think I missed something, leave a comment, let me know what it is. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, if you hate my guts, leave a comment. I'm sorry that I dissed oatmeal, bros. I know you really like it. I know that it goes really good with the bro split workout. But at the end of the day, it is just my opinion, which is infallible and always right. Just kidding. This has been the fat loss food tier list. I'm Rex. If you like the video, leave it a like. Subscribe if you want. If you have any good ideas for videos, you want to see another tier list like this or something else, please let me know in the comments and I'll consider it for a video in the future. Thanks for watching.